We got another brother coming. We got a couple of new people. We got a brother coming out of New York. His name is Azariah Bay. I used to go to speak in New York a lot by a sister by the name of Bert Hatshepsut, Bert Lockett. She's known real good in Atlanta for the simple fact that she used to do a lot of trading for cultural communication. And so I lectured for her, I mean tons of times, literally dozens of times, from 1994 to 1998. And then she moved to Buffalo. She said she's making her way on back. As a result, there was a brother named Azariah Bay took over and continued bringing me to Harlem. Anyway, because I'm involved in several other occult factions and different types of research, I might be on this 1 minute and treat that and go to the next thing, just trying to uncover as much as we could. You see, because we was also on a race with different occult factions with the Europeans that basically has been in this stuff for the last 120 years. So it's a lot of information I had to get through. But I had also had brought in a series of my rendition to the Moorish thing was the occult origins of the Moorish things are basically what the Moors brought forth in the esoteric spiritual science, so basically what they call Moorish science. So that was my thing, the history was covered. And I'm going to go into some part of that also tonight because there's some other stuff that we need to redo because they did a faction on ETV, educational TV, PBS, back here. I think it was in May, end of April or May or something. They did a faction, they did this presentation of, it's called Islam, the Empire of Faith. Well, they got a few things that they manipulated. They hardly ever mentioned the Moors. And they didn't even mention the Arab conquest of Kemet or Egypt. So there was several things that there was several things that they did. So I want to get into this discrepancy, some research that I had uncovered. But by them telling the lie, they also proved that the research that I uncovered was actually true. So we got that. Well, there's a brother from New York. He's uncovering more of the occult side of things, more like the Holy Grail, which we know is Moorish science. More sex tantric things is Moorish science, and a couple other things. So we got a couple Moorish things back there. I also have some tape that I did in Cleveland recently that is dynamited. We got one called The Immigrant Humans that I did in February. The Immigrant Humans is a tape that I did the Human Artificials back in 1993. The Immigrant Humans is more research on this origin of the European or whatever that was so much information that was bombarded that I had to do a second tape, and I did this tape in February of this year. It's called The Immigrant Humans. And it's dealing with more information and even uncovering that, and I think I mentioned this about 2 or 3 years ago, that Mary Shelley's Frankenstein was actually an occult rendition of the whole Yaqub thing. And there's even aspects of that in her book where she mentions Imhotep, which is Asclepius. So there's a book called Cliff Tobias' book, The Gnostics, to give you the information on that. Cliff Tobias, I think Cliff Tobias, I think his name is. And anyway, it's in the tape. And so it's just more ongoing information. It's called Immigrant Humans. Also did a tape in the first of the year called The History of Melanin. Dealing with some other origins, more of the mystical origins of this particular information. And also some other tantric stuff that they did in Cleveland. So we got a bunch of that back there. As you know, we still have the tape thing going, Occult, with Sister Delma, my business partner. That is about a year old now. We started in the spring of 2000. So we still have that going as I put on the tape. The number is 404-344-6862. Contact Delbra with the Occult, which is interesting because the actual picture, I don't know if I brought the book, but I got a book that did the actual picture that we have as the logo comes from the temple of it's one of one of the tombs of an Egyptian priestess. And when we first put it together, she said, "You sure we can use it?" I'm like, "Hell, this white boy stole it from us." It's not as if it's something that they got. They literally just basically hand copied it from the temple. And so it's a picture of Orion in the front of the boat, Sothic, which is Orion, which represents Osiris in the front of the boat, Sothic, which would represent Isis in the front of the boat, and then three other stars, Jupiter, Mars, and Saturn, which would also represent Horus, Isis, and Osiris, also in the actual book. That's also called the Ark of Sothic. And that whole thing starts to travel the celestial now, starting at the summer solstice, which would be mid-June, June 21st. So we are in what is called the whole Ark of Sothic. In July also starts what is called, because the Ark of Sothic is also Jason's Ark of the Argo. In July starts the whole area of Jason. July, August, September, October, and November, which spells Jason. Also, which is this whole cycle. And it's actually a Syrian cycle, which also covers All Saints' Day, fall equinox, the rising of the Nile, because this whole 4th of July thing, this whole 4th of July thing is also the rising of the Nile, and it has something else that I just flip in my mind right now. There is another thing, where the sun is the furthest away, but Sirius is one of the closest it could be to Earth. All Saints' Day, spring equinox, Easter Hallows Eve, Thanksgiving, which is not necessarily the horn of plenty, but there's a Thanksgiving ritual in the Book of the Dead, Thanksgiving ritual in the Dead Sea Scrolls, Thanksgiving ritual in, I think, several Gnostic texts. So basically they're talking about something that's greater, of a harvest time, or something that is greater than this whole turkey thing and all, that's the ghost holiday. That is the ghost holiday. Today I want to get into a combination of some stuff that I've been working at it about 9 years and finally hit gold with it. Back in March. And we're going to get into the information and tell you how this whole thing goes about. The Europeans was looking for the right group of entities that they can deal with that could give them access to the outside. The outside is outside of the known universe. They understand that anybody who don't have access to outside of the known universe will perish with this universe as this universe subsides. It goes into another cycle and not necessarily in the physical. So they've been working diligently for the last 120 years to establish this particular contact. Unfortunate for them, it was ancestral. No matter how much occult groups tell you we are all this, when it all boiled down, it was ancestral. And the good part about it is I made the contact, and there's a couple of entities that came through, and they're really a real working force and stuff. I can say that because my damn lights ain't getting cut off. Gas wasn't cut off till it got hot, and I said, "The hell with it, you all can you let that go." They usually get it cut off in the summertime anyway until October. I don't need the heat. My phone wasn't cut off because my phone is bugged, and that's amazing. Shit, I ain't paid the phone bill since, I don't know, about 3-4 months. Just like Dick Gregory said when they asked him was his phone bugged. He said, "How do you know that?" He said, "Because I went from 1968 to 1990 something, never paid no phone bill, and my phone never got cut off." So pretty much if you ever call my house, like Dick Gregory said, you want to get a message from the president, just call my house. Because it's sure no bug, so I didn't have to worry about that. And I told him, I said, "I got some hot shit going on here now, so if y'all want to be on the outside of this hot shit that's going on, you all better not cut off the phone, because you won't get the scoop." So anyway, it was interesting because my business partner, Deborah, her mother called, and we talked about an hour, like 2 or 3 hours on the phone. And after she got through, she was hearing the echo and clicks, and she said, "Damn, my phone is bugged." So also, too, that's a good way to get your phone bugged, is to call my house and stay on there about an hour. And if your conversation sounds pretty good, then you best believe your shit gonna be bugged. This is some, but a lot of real interesting things is going on. We're going to go into all that stuff. Also, what we have to do today is we got a deal with right now, that they are moving and stuff. And we also, eventually we will get to the spiritual aspect, but there's a lot of stuff happening on the physical. And since I haven't spoken since the conference, but basically really in a regular lecture done this year, we need to cover some of that particular stuff also too. So don't be alarmed by the skull. The skull is an actuality which is very key because June 23rd starts the realm of the dead, which is called Seker or Soka, or the kingdom of Osiris. So anytime you see the skull, that also represents the realm of the dead, or Soka, or the ancestral realm. So the reason why you see the Gudun, or what they call Makumba, or what they call Palomanope, they would deal with the skull because it represents the ancestral dead. And I guess I got this one on Halloween up in Kroger. And I said, man, this is the best looking skull I've seen. You know,
Nice.
so you know, but it represents the dead, but it represents the ancestral aspect. You know, when I tell this story about this sister, man, she loved her daddy to death. Her daddy died one month, and the daddy tried to get in contact with her the next month. All of a sudden, her daddy, her main enemy now. You know what I'm saying? She's scared as shit of the man she knew known all her life. The only thing it is he just lost his physical body, but all of a sudden she's spooked out. You know what I'm saying? Because of Christianity and also different things also. So that's one. So we get into the Soker or the Seker to give you some information on that. You need to get let's pull this out. We always give you some bibliography. You need to buy the book. The message of the Sphinx. The message of the Sphinx by Graham Hancock and Robert Bouval. And it goes into this particular time right now, especially the quest of the Harvest King. It goes into this particular sector of the kingdom of Osiris. The message of the Sphinx by Robert Bouval and Graham Hancock. He also wrote Robert Bouval also wrote the book, The Orion Mysteries, but this one, The Message to the Sphinx, which in actuality, I read it back in '96 when I got it because it was released during the time of the Olympics. And but it was 4 years or 5 years ahead of its time because the stuff that is going on now is going on. The stuff that this book is dealing with started on June 21st. Actually started in April, and we'll go into that particular science. But this particular part that we're talking about here is called the Seker, or the Tuat, which in actuality was a festival going on in Hemmitt for years. And it's interesting, and it would be ironic. It's not necessarily. It is ironic that, and it's not by coincidence that you got your whole 4th of July thing going on at the same time. You see what I'm saying? They did this festival every year in ancient Egypt and ancient Kemet, but that festival that they was doing every year was talking about this time right now on the millennium. But I mean, it's very key. It's very key, and it's an excellent part in that particular book, dealing with that whole summer solstice thing. Also, I've been dealing with this thing about 9 years as far as the whole rise of Sirius. And never before I have gotten different discrepancies on the actual rise of Sirius. Some say July 23rd. I've even heard it as early as June 23rd. I've even heard July 20th, July 26th, July 27th. And there's different discrepancies on this type of thing. We'll try to break some of those discrepancies and try to pinpoint what is the reason for that. But right now what we want to do is we want to do the libation ceremony, and we will also, we are in the July itself starts the resting place of the lion. The word restile, the word rasta, the word restile. Rasta is a later word that came from the word restile, which means resting place of the lion. Also, you'll get that, and also this particular book goes into that, the whole restile thing, which I think this book is, it was $27 back in hardback, but since then it's gone softback. It's gone softback. so-called lion, the whole July and the summer solstice, but July itself is a resting place of lion. So what we want to do today is invoke Sekhmet. We want to invoke Sekhmet today, which would also represent the Sphinx that sits in the middle of the earth, the Lion of Judah, John Nessie. John Nessie in voodoo, it would be Simbi, the lion. In Kemet would also be Harmachis, Horus on the horizon, Sekhmet. Any feline deity, it also would be Shu and Tapu is also seen as double lions. So we want to invoke that also before we get into this particular thing. Also, so we got a lot of good stuff to deal with today. A lot of good movies. A lot of good movies. Just like they came out with the skulls, 2 years ago, and that was last year. This year, with the Tomb Raider, they just came out and said she was battling the Illuminati. So that whole thing that went down. We're going to get into that also, too. So right now, what we deal with right now is also the Congo rights, and the Congo rights is a little bit left over in Puerto Rico and also down in Brazil. The Congo rights is called Palo Manome, which is headed by the doorway. You always have a god at the crossroads. In this case, it would be Zarabanda. Zarabanda, that's these particular sigils. So they call sigils, and they call sigils in Hebrew, they're called sigils. And in Western magic, which is coming straight out of Hemmitt, it would be called sigils. Here they are called signatures, and in Vodun they are called veves. They're called veves, veves. In Vodun, or what you call voodoo, they're called veves. We also, if you want to get access to the Voodoo Gnostic workbook, how much did that thing cost a copy? About what? It costs about 100 a copy. And that's the sad part about it. Cause see, when I was up in Clark, they had a print press up there, and I said, damn, that's right, they got a print shop up in Clark. And I went to my boy the other day. I said, yeah, he's the assistant dean over there, and I was like, damn, man, we can get access to this print shop. He was like, no, they gave the contract out to Xerox. You see what I'm saying? So I mean, every time, and now all of a sudden, Xerox it is as much as printing now. Damn, you can print a book cheaper than you can Xerox something. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, there's a book called the Voodoo Gnostic Workbook by Michael Bertio. Some say Bertiex. Another word is Michael Beltu, which is a French pronunciation. That particular book has been out of print for the last 6 years, 6 or 7 years. But we do have access to it. If not, if we can't find some kind of way or some kind of hookup, because we need them hookups. You know what I mean? Black people working in the white man place. If we can't find some type of hookup, then what we have to do is, I think we got a guy out of New York that might be able to get that particular book, the Voodoo Gnostic Workbook. But these particular ones are probably the most powerful and significant to what is called in the Kabbalah, what they call the world that is to come. These Apollo is significant to that. Now you would have your Orishas, which would be significant to the world that has already been. Your Netters would also be a form of that too. But as far as your Apollo is also significant for the world that is to come. That means that they're strictly dark matter entities. And right now that is the key to everything, and what the European is dealing with right now is he's scared of the dark matter. I'm going ahead of myself. But I shouldn't. And in so many words, most rituals work based on the ones you make up yourself. So in so many words, if you really want to reactivate something to work for you, is the ones that you make up yourself. Now, how does this go? That means that most of these rituals you get out of books and you get out of old age tradition, including Yoruba, Vodun, even Kemet and stuff. You have so many people on the earth doing them until it wears the energy thin. You see what I'm saying? It saturates it. You see, and you have so many people doing it until it literally, wears it thin and saturates it and dilutes it. So therefore, some of the key me, magic is the ones you do yourself. Is the ones you do yourself and all. I know I'm single as hell. Even my damn bills got cut off recently. So and that was straight up magic. You know, that was straight up magic. Other than my phone, I'm quite sure they're gonna keep that on because it's getting real close. Getting real close. But as a result of these particular ones, these particular ones gave listen. These are in Puerto Rico. And as a result of dealing with them, they gave 6 outside deities. And these outside deities are equivalent to what they call the Necronomicon. I'm getting ahead of myself. These 6 outside deities came in March of this year. And I'll go into the whole story of that. But we're going to invoke them, the outside deities, as well as some other ones on the list. Let me get my segment book up and we can start this thing. And it's sad, you know, it's interesting. It's the book, The Dice segment. It came out by Robert Masters. And basically, the good part about it now with the internet is you can go online. There's 4 or 5 book search companies. One is called www.bibliofind.com. www.bibliofind.com. And if you're willing to pay the money, you can get it. What this book here cost me $12.95 about 8 years ago. 8 or 9 years, about 9 years ago. And now that book is this hardback is like $80 and the softback is like $80 and the hardback is like $150. But then again, that's one aspect that's going forward. But you probably can. You can go to Bibliofind if you're not a person that goes searching in these used bookstores and stuff. You can find things also too. But that's what they do when these books go out of print. They can sell them for what they want, and they can get the amount of money that they want. So we're going to do the invocation to a segment and an invocation to harvest a hay root in this particular time cycle that we're in right now. And as we go on, we'll go into this particular information on the hard copy. And just I mean, there's so much stuff actually happening right now. There's even words, there's even stuff on chemtrails that in actuality the sky is really, on most days the sky, even if the sun is shining, the sky is more like a grayish blue color, but it's not that deep blue that you used to see. So that means in actuality, and there's even reports that they're coming on the internet now, and they're actually saying that this particular, these chemtrails that they're dropping are actually doing something to hinder the DNA and prevent the rise of certain ancient people. You see, so when we're looking and saying, why the fuck is everybody in a zombie state? You know what I'm saying? And why is it that the only conscious people you will know the majority of is the one you're seeing up in here right now? But outside of this meeting, you might meet one every 2 months. You know what I'm saying? Every 2 months and stuff like that. You know, that is because they're on lockdown based on these chemtrails and a whole lot of other things that they're dealing with right now. But that's the way things are going. So we are right in the middle of a whole lot of things. But the good part about it is, we have breakthroughs now. And I'm not talking about it. I'm talking about dealing with this stuff the last 9 years. I've been speaking for 9 years. But the last 14 years, we're trying to deal with the inquiry of who am I? Am I all I ought to be? And who am I? Am I really who I am? And am I all I ought to be? In dealing with this, I'm saying the last 2 years, 2000 and 2001 has been dead on the money. I mean, every damn month, every week, dead on the actual money. And I'm talking about whereas corresponding with the spirit realm basically hourly, let alone daily or monthly, we talk about hourly, and basically in it and locked into it. And that's the good part about this particular thing. We are literally, it's not a projection of the future. The projection is now. stuff tonight and today. We're going to really try to come home with this stuff. Because pretty much black people are through. I'm saying on an aspect and all that. Because I'm telling you, the majority of people are plaguing your life these days. We know historically what the white man does, and I don't let him off the hook. But I'm saying the people that's plaguing your life is straight up Negroes, and you know that. I'd be funny, but this man's here now. Negro got something for you behind every damn day. To the point where if you ain't in seclusion, you are really taking a chance with your sanity out here with these fools. You know what I'm saying? You ain't shut up and say, I ain't getting it. I'm telling you shit, I can tell. And I've been a nigga in the street from 1973 till 2000, hell, till spring 2000. I mean, man, that's all I did. You call my house, you never catch me. And it took me 39 years to become a damn hermit, but I tell you, boy, it was time for me to damn hightail it to the hills because it is crazy out here. It is crazy out here. And if you don't think so, you ain't got to go down to 5 Points to see them fools up there walking around with green weave and all kind of shit. You ain't got to do that now. The only thing you got to do is take a trip to your nearest family member house. I'm quite sure you had to get rid of some of that stuff the last couple of days and stuff. And all this cookout mentality and bullshit is going on. You know what I'm saying? I mean, my goodness, man. They bombarded the hell out of me the last couple of days. Niggas I ain't seen in years and all, but I was drinking. I even called my brother and I'm like, damn, y'all sleeping? They said, man, we sleeping like hell. We drained after the dead folks had left and all, Dead folks and all, talking about a fucking baby boy and all that old crazy shit. Baby boy. And that's the crux of the conversation. And these are educated folks too, so they're madness. But anyway, let's get into the libation, and so as we know, we're spitting the rum and all. I've been out of this. I've been out of the room for about 2 weeks, so y'all better make sure y'all get y'all stuff before y'all leave and all. We'll be stealing your shit. No. What's that? What you got? Libations. We're gonna start off with the 11 Congo rights, what they call Parliamentombe. If you want, if I do this, I can pass this around. It is probably, basically all you really need to really start some things right now is just the names. It's just the names of these particular ones, and then you can actually, and if you knew Spanish and stuff, you could pretty much figure this out. I'll go into the history of what this is also. All you would need is the actual name, so we pass this list around, and you can actually write it down if you want to. Like I said, until I get the Xerox hook up like I used to have in 98, 99, 97 and stuff, Find another brother working in a place so we can get bulk stuff, how to deal with it. But we getting all funny now, like, and stuff, thinking we own the shit. But Mr. Charlie always kick us in our behind and all, Anytime I see some black person get fired from their job and all, usually I say, well, that's good. This day and age, I ain't talking about you, because some of you all up in here used to getting fired, so it ain't no big deal. I'm talking about the ones that have identified, think that actually Coca-Cola, they was born to work for Coke in different places. I'm not talking about y'all, Some of you all should be used to getting fired from a job and all this, So, that would be all right. You know how it is. You get a little pressure for about a week or so, And mostly I'm depressed that I got to go look for another job. But, so we're going to deal with this. So the master of the crossroads is Zarabanda, so we'll spit 4 ways. I should give him a little cover. It don't matter. This is sufficient. I became an expert at that. Spit in 4 ways. Zarabanda. La Santísima Muerte. Mama Shoah. San Simón. La Santísima Petra Ema. Los Spiritus Intrépidos. Madre de la Luna. Francisco de Sritire. So the 7 other one is Lokeo. Lokeo. One of the head ones is called Kekumbo. Omogumu. Tiacha. Shumala. Oticha. Let's see. Hold on. Let me just. Ogumu. Let's see. Shumala, Omogumu, Tiacha, Oticha. That's 4. And let's see. 5, 6. There's one more. Let's see. I should have brought the list. Let me get this right now. Let me get it right. Omogumu, Oticha, Tiacha. Okay, so Tiacha.